Masechta Sanhedrin, Daf Mem Hey Amar Aleph, is starting from Mem Dal Amid Beis, 2 lines in the bottom of the Mishnah. Sagt the Mishnah, Haya, if the Niskal was a Rachik, mi Beis HaSkila, Avam is a distance from the house of the Skila, 4 Ames, Haya Mavshit Neis has begodim. They would remove his begodim. Like it says in the Pasuk, R'dag Moise, Mamish B'leik Susi, that they would stone him without clothing. But Mipnei Atzniz, Ha'ish Mechasen Oisai, the man that would cover him with a piece of cloth milfanu in front of him. Ha'ish Milfanu Macharel, but a woman they would cover with a piece of cloth in front and in the back. Those are the words of Rabbi Yehuda. Chamaimim, Cham argue Ha'ish Niskel Arin. A man gets the skila naked. Ha'ish Niskel Saruma, but a woman doesn't get the skila naked. Nizak the Yemara. And it says Ha'ish Mechasen Oisai, a man they would cover him b'shas haskila pekachad, a little piece of cloth in front of him, connected his erva, a woman, 2 pieces of cloth, one in the front, one in the back, because of tznias, mipnei shekol erva, because the whole place in the front and the back is erva. Those are the words of Rabbi Yehuda. The chamar yuaish niskal aring. A man gets the skila naked, but a woman doesn't get skila naked at all. She rather her whole goof is covered. What's the reason that Ish doesn't get skila naked? Because it says in the pasuk that they should stone him. My oisei, what is oisei coming to tell us? Elam, if he's coming to darshan oisei v'lei oisa, that only he gets skila and not her. It says by skila of one who serves Avodah Zarah, it says so it's mefresh that even the woman gets skila, like you see by Avodah Zarah, that they take out the man or the woman. So elamai oisei, rather, what is the dash of oisei? Says oisei b'leik susei means that he gets skila with his guf without the clothing. That's oisei only him. Oisa, but the woman, she gets skila b'ksusa with her clothing. Rabbi Yehuda argues and he says oisei b'leik susei. Oisei is coming to tell us that it's without clothing, and loishnai and it's not going on a person; it's going on the clothing. That it's without the clothing. Loishnai isha. It makes no chilik whether it's a man or a woman, because and that's what Isa wants to teach us. Matter of fact, should we say the Rabbanan chaysh le'Yehuda, Rabbi Yehuda loy chaysh le'Yehuda? Should we say the reason why the Rabbanan say that she has to be, a woman doesn't get skila naked, she has to be covered because we're afraid others that see will have bad thoughts, and Rabbi Yehuda says we're not concerned. But we learned the opposite in Masechta Seita. It's not. We learned the Mishnah Seita. The kohen holds on to her clothing, and he pulls it down. If it got torn, even if it got unstitched, it's fine. Till it reveals the heart. So says and also you unbraid the hair. If she had a beautiful heart, body in the front, that they wouldn't open they wouldn't reveal it. And if her hair being long, unbraided was beautiful, they wouldn't unbraid the hair. Why? Pasha, because according to Rabbi Yehuda, he was chayshesh li hirur for hir aveda. Okay, so it's a stira. Here you see that Rabbi Yehuda is concerned and of hir aveda and not to reveal. And when it comes to the skila, he says it doesn't make a difference, a man or a woman, they both get skila naked, where he's not chaysh lahiro. And the Rabbanan, we learn just the opposite. The Rabbanan say, if it got ripped and torn, and even if it reveals her body, and it doesn't matter, he's not chaysh lahiro. And before we said, the Rabbanan say, no, only he gets skila. Only he gets skila naked, but not the woman. And the one Rabba answer Hasmai no time the reason why say that we're chayshish for here Shama takes me based on zakah because maybe she'll come out a zakah, a merited. She'll come out acquitted. He's got about Pirchei Kehuna, and the young Kahanim who are found in the Azara will have these bad thoughts, and they'll chase after her for the rest of her life. But over here, the woman is getting killed, so they won't have these thoughts. And if you want to say that no, the taka, this woman will be killed, but once they saw this woman before she was killed, they'll have him here Aveda by after other women. We learn that the Yetzirah doesn't rule only from the same person, that the same girl that they saw. That's where the Yetzirah gets rekindled, but not on others. Rabbi said, Rabbi Yehuda, kasha, Rabban like kasha. You had a stir on Rabbi Yehuda, but Rabban, you didn't have a kasha. I mean, the same stir is on the Rabban. The Rabban said, when they get to skila, that the woman does not get skila naked. But when it comes to a Satan, we say no, he rips the clothes, even though her body will be revealed, even if it's a beautiful body. Only rather Rabbi says Rabbi Yehuda like kasha Sharina. Rabbi Yehuda is not a kasha because by Satan she might be acquitted, and therefore the Pirchei Kehuna will run after. They'll have these bad hirurim. Mashenk by skill she's getting killed, so we don't have to be concerned that they'll have hiruvim. The Rabban is also not a kash namakar, it says in the pasuk. The Ishbat should get rid of these nus from the land. And he should give Musa to all the women with and they shouldn't they shouldn't do this nus, and this should be a must for them. And that's why by sight we do it, but but here benegay to skila, over there we say that there's no Indian of being mevayisha even more. This is enough of a musa to tell the women not to be avodah zara or not to be mekalal. Okay. You want to add, and if you want to say, no, we should do both, we should kill her and be mevayish her, that she should get killed naked. It says in the pasuk, you should love your fellow Jew as yourself. When you kill somebody, choose the best misa for her, in order that she shouldn't be embarrassed. So the Gemara explains, let us say this, that Rav Nachman said, this whole drasha is a machlekes of Tanaim, meaning that according to Chachamim, she chooses Misa over being embarrassed because the clothing will prolong her death, because it'll absorb the bang from the stones, so it might prolong her death. So rather be naked and get killed faster. And according to Rabbi Yehuda, no, a person might want to rather be embarrassed, because that's a bigger punishment for them. So the Kuliyama is like Rav Nachman. Everybody holds Rav Nachman that you have to choose the best mitzvah. And here, this is what they're arguing about. Once again, according to Rav Nachman Tanoi, should we say that the words of Rav Nachman is a machlekes of Tanoim? That according to Chachamim, you choose Misa, the Misa Yafa, meaning the Misa, and not to embarrass her. And according to Rabbi Yehuda, you don't have to choose a Misa Yafa, you're allowed to be Mavaza her. So you want to know, it's not so. There's no machlekes that way. There's no machlekes that for sure we choose only one Misa out of the two. But the Kuli Alma Isla Rav Nachman, everybody holds of Rav Nachman. Again, over here, this is what they're arguing about. Marsava, Min noicha de gufe. One man the Hama holds that the embarrassment of a person is more of a punishment, and a woman would rather be a prolonged death and not be embarrassed. Masava, and one Tana holds noicha de gufe adif, that no, she would rather prolong a death than being embarrassed. Other mebizyene. And therefore, no, one again. So the first one says bizyene de inish adifa is more chashiv to them, and Masa Yehuda says no, she rather get killed naked to die faster. Sagt the Mishnah, sagt the Heilige Mishnah, Beis Haskila, the house of the skila was two heights of a person. Let's say a height of a person is 6 feet, so it was 12 feet high, and then you had the height of the person himself, which is 18 feet. One of the Eidim would push him by the hips. That if he fell on his stomach, so they turn him on his back. Meaning, if he didn't die, so that they should be able to throw the stone again on his heart, that he should die right away. That was the derech of the mason, to lie on the back. But if he died just from falling, but if he didn't die from the fall itself, the second aid takes the stone and throws it bekayach on the heart of the, meaning on the body of the convicted one. That's chayv skila. If he died by the first stone, he's yetz. If he didn't die from that first stone, then all the Eden would throw the stone, additional stone, till he would die. Like it says, the hands of the Eden should be first, la misa to kill him. And the hand of the rest of the nation should be last if he didn't die by the stone that they ate through. So we learned after two heights of skila, the Krim Shalai together with his height, that's when they threw him off the roof. So how they can? So you have here falling from like three heights. Do we need such a height that he should die through falling like 18 feet, a height of 3 floors? What I mean, just like bird is the shear is enough to kill is by a sarat tvachim. So too, the shear for somebody falling that causes misa should be already by 10 tvachim. So why do you need 3 floors of 2 floors plus his height? It says in the pasuk, when you kill somebody who's chayv misa, breilai misa yafa, choose the misa which is going to go right away. In fact, let's make it even from a higher height, because there he becomes disfigured and it's disgusting. So we learned the Mishnah, one of the push him by the hip. It says, somebody who touched Har Sinai at the time when they were standing on Har Sinai, it says the logic that he will either get skila and be thrown off a height. Where do we know somebody who touched Har Sinai, he gets punished with being thrown off from a high height? Which yari is a lashon of throwing off from a high height. How do you know it's beskila? Because it says a lashon of throwing stones. How do you know if they pushed him off a high height and he didn't die, that you still throw a stone? From this, that it says a double lashon by each one, teaches us that you do both. So how do we know? But if he died by one of them, he's yaitz, and you don't have to do this both of them. The word oy comes to be mechalik and says, if he didn't die, then you do then you throw the stone. But if he died, so it's oy yari yari. After it means that one of them is enough to kill him from the word oy. How do we know that it's applicable for the future generations as well? So the Gemara, behind the Kamalei, Talmud Lema, Saki Yisakal Yari Yari. How do you know for the future generation? Because it says Sakal Yisakal, that you could have written Sakal Sakal. Why does it say Sakal Yisakal for the future? Or Yara Yi Yara, it doesn't say Yara Yara Yara, it says Yi Yara with a W. So from this that it wrote Yi Sakal with and Yi Yara, which is a Lashon of us, it teaches us that it's done for the future generations. This halakha is applicable for the future generations as well. So we learned in the Mishnah Lav Eid Hashin Neitels have, and if not, if he didn't die, the second by falling off of the heights, the second aid takes a stone. It says Neitel B'Lashon Yachid. Tanya Frek Gemara. We learned in the Brayso Shimon Elazar Aim Even Haisa Sham Masui Shnei Bnei Adam. There was a stone that the weight was that only lifted through two people. That's how heavy it was. And it says, and that's the stone that they threw on the body of the person in Ibmeis by Yatza. If he died, that's it. He was Yatza with that stone. So from the Brayso, you see that the Evan was so heavy, you needed two people in order to elevate it. So why did the Mishnah use a Lashon Yachid? It says, Noitel. Well, the time, according to Yoshita, Tikshulach he gofa. Ask on the Brayso itself. It says, Masoi Shnei Bnei Adam. The stone had the weight of two people, meaning it needed two people to lift it. And right after it says, it says that, and one would throw it on his body. And only the B of the Mishnah knows the Brayso, the Madle, he would lift it together with his friend. But only the second aid would throw it. In order that it should come with a full force. Because when two people are throwing it down together, in order that they should both do it should fall with a full force, they have to do it exactly in the same time. But if one doesn't do it exactly at the same time, and one is throwing and one is holding back, so it's not going to come down with a full force. That's why we have one do it. That's the only time when it comes down full force. We learned the Mishnah law of Rigimasei Bechol Yisrael, and if not, then if he didn't die by the first stone, then the rest of Klal Yisrael start throwing stones till he dies. In fact, it was there a case that he didn't die through the stone that the aid had thrown, and he was stoned through Kol Yisrael. Tani we learned in the Brayso, there was no, they didn't have to throw on the Niskal a second stone. So where do we come off saying? And if the first stone didn't kill him, then Klal Yisrael started to throw stones. But we said it never happened. And the Gemara, does the Mishnah say that they did so? Did it happen? It didn't happen. The Mitzvah Kamina, the Mishnah is only telling you that if there was a need that the first stone didn't kill the person, then Klal Yisrael would intervene and throw more stones till he died. Amama, in the Tana it said, we learned in the Brayso, Even Hoisa, Smashma from the Brayso, that there was always a stone in Bezdin prepared. In fact, but we learned in the Brayso, Achas Evan Shaniskabav, Achas Eight Shanitalav, Achas Hayif, Shanarabab, Achas Suda, Shanaraboy, Kulum side the stone in which the person had skila, side the wood upon which he was hung, inside the sword on which he was killed through, inside the scarf in which he was choked through, is buried with him. So what do you mean that it was there in Bezdin if it was buried with the mace? That immediately they would replace the stone with a new stone in Bezdin. So we learned in the Brayso that the Evan and the Eights and the Saif and the Suda and the Gbarim, they were buried with the maize. But we learned in the Tesafta, all these were not buried with him. Just the opposite of what we said. Amar Papa, my Imai, what does it mean with him? Imai betfisasa, it means within the four Amis that were close to him, but not in the cave itself. Shmuel said, Nikta Yad, Va'idim, if the hands of the Eidim were cut off later, Potter, he's Potter from Misa, my time. What's the reason? Because to be Ina, we have to fulfill the words of the Pasuk, Yad Eidim to Yabai Barishena, that the hands of the Eidim should be the first ones to throw the stone, the Leka. And now he doesn't have hands. So if he doesn't have hands, he doesn't get killed with skila. In fact, how about Adam who testified that he killed somebody and he's chayv skila, that he committed aveda, he was aveda zara, and these Adam had only stumps, they didn't have hands. We're going to say it's possible because they can't fulfill yada Adam. It says yada Adam, which means shahisekvar. It means that they had those hands b'shas eidos, and since he had regular hands b'shas eidos, and then they were cut off, that's not their hands anymore. But Mashenkin, some of the Chatchila testified with stumps, so and he didn't have hands to begin with. So that's the Yada Eidim they had originally. That's called the Yada Eidim, and we do kill him. And we consider it as Yad Eidim. Meisa, in fact, we learned in Makkah, somebody was Nigma Dinei, they passed in the din, and the convicted one ran away. Kol Makkah, in every Bezdin Sheyidu, Shnaim, Yem Eidim, on the Beis Plain, Nigma Dinei, Bezdin Plaini, Plaini Eidim, but they say Yaharik. We said, in any Bezdin, if two other Eidim testify about these, that there were two Eidim testified against the Ritzayach, and he was convicted, and they testified about these two Eidim testified in another Bezdin, we said he gets killed. So you see, even though it's not Yada Eidim, it's not the same Eidim who through them is the Ritzayach getting killed. It's not the original Eidim. You need the Yada Eidim of the original Eidim. And you want to take him to Shmuel explains the Mishnah Makes. I'm sorry. Hein Edo. We're talking about not that the Edom were testifying about other Edom who testified in another Bezdin about the Ritzayach. Rather, the original Edom, are testifying a second time in another Bezdin that this Ritzayach was convicted in another Bezdin, and that's where he gets killed. Do we have to fulfill Dafka the way it says in the Pasuk? Yad Eidim Bay. Vatanya, we learned in the Braisa. It says in the Pasuk, Meis Yumas Hamaka Ritzeichu. The Ritzeiach, the one that hit, is a Ritzeiach and he should die. So it says, if it would have said just Yumas, only Ela B'Misa Aksilbay. I would have thought only the Misa, he dies only through a Sayif, through a sword. How do we know that if you're unable to kill him with the misa that's prescribed in the pasuk, that you can kill him with any misa that you're able to? Here it comes to tell you that the double lashon meis yumas, that in b'chol you're allowed to kill him, whichever way. So you see, you don't have to fulfill the misa according to the way the pasuk prescribes it, and the pasuk prescribes the Messiah, and you can kill him anyway. And you want to shiny house no makra meis yumas. Says you want to do is a special ribui that you don't kill him only Messiah, but in the pasuk of Yada Eidim, there's no ribui from which you can learn out that the one that's Chayiv Misa is Chayiv Misa even when you're unable to fulfill the words of the pasuk of Yada Eidim to Yabai. In fact, let us learn out from what it says by the Tzayach with a Mamatzino that you don't have to follow exactly what it says in the pasuk, and the Yada Eidim shouldn't be a holdback if there's no if his hands were cut off. It should be a holdback from performing the skila. And for the Gemara, you cannot learn out with a mamatzina from the tzayag. Mishum da'avar tzayag v'goyel adam shneiksim habayim ke'echad, because the tzayag and the goyel adam are two psukim telling us the same din. And the call is, if you have two psukim, two psukim that are coming to tell us the same dasha, it tells us you cannot learn out for other places. And that's why we cannot learn out with a mamatzino from there, from Reitzeyach for Skila, for Eved Avodah Zarah. So the Yemara Reitzeyach, Chod Amaran, Reitzeyach, we know the case where it says Ba'ishim Samaka Reitzechu in any form of Misa. Goyal Adam Mai, what is the case of Goyal Adam? And the Yemara, the time that we learned in the Brais from the Gay Reitzech Mishgaga, who's exiled Le'ir Miklat, it says Goyal Adam Yamas HaSayat. It says that there's a mitzvah L'Krei V'Shalanitz Charei Le'Yarshai, that it's a mitzvah for a relative who's fit to inherit him to go after the Reitzeyach. From this pasuk we learn out Shem mitzvah b'Goyal Adam. That's a mitzvah through a Goyal Adam, a relative, to kill the Reitzeyach b'Shegeg if he didn't enter exile or if he left exile. And how do we know that if he doesn't have a relative, that Bezdin appoints a relative? Shanema, like it says in the pasuk, when he will meet him, the rabbis, any person that will meet him can kill him. Meaning the ones that a Bezdin appoints, even if he's not a relative. Is there one that holds that you don't have to fulfill the pasuk exactly like it's written? What's not? We learned later on Dafayin Aleph, if the father or the mother of the son Ben Sarah was a gidem, had a cut off hand, or was a mute, or had a lame foot, a blind person, or deaf person, Ben Sarah, then the child doesn't become a Ben Sarah, meaning he doesn't get killed. Like it says in the pasuk, it says they should grab the father or the mother and take him out to the elders of the city to the gate of the place. So we dash that we grab him. It tells us he cannot be without hands. It says they should walk him out and take him out. They cannot be people who are lame, with lame feet. That's the father and the mother cannot be lame. And they should say, but they cannot be mutes. They have to be able to speak. This is our son, who's a Seder Merit. This pointing, they cannot point if they're blind. And then doesn't listen to our voice. But if they're cheresh, they cannot hear if he's listening or not. So therefore, the Ben Seder doesn't get killed in such a case. What's the reason? Is it that not because we have to follow exactly the letters of the pasuk? Says no, from this mission is not a raya. Shani Hasam, the Kuli Krok, because all of this pasuk is extra, meaning by a Ben Seder or this whole pasuk of saying, what's the wording? V'tavsubay, v'hitziyo say, and the amru. So all those words are extra. All you have to say, v'hitziyu el shara ir was galu. So from this that it said all these extra words, obviously from the extra words, that's where we learn it out from. But not because we have to follow exactly the words of the pasuk, only because it's a yitur. So the Gemara brings a proof whether you have to fulfill exactly the way it's written in the pasuk. Tashma, we learned in the Braisa, it says he should take all the spoils. In the pasuk it says all the spoils you should gather into the square. What's if it doesn't have a square, so you can't fulfill the words of the pasuk? Then you don't fulfill the union of Yanadachas. Those are the words of Rabbi Yishmael. Rabbi Kiva argues, if there is no square, you make a square. Till here they don't argue that there has to be a square from to begin with in this Yanadachas. If they make now a square, it's as if there was a square from before. But according to everybody, you need to follow the letters of the law to fulfill Dafkid that there's a square, like the pasuk says. So the Gemara concludes, Tanoi, this is a machliks of Tanoim, the Tanan that we learn by Negoim, by a Mitzvah. It says, "Alokach hakoyin, midam ha'osh benos la'koyin al tnuch is na mitaya ha'yimanis v'albein yod ha'yimanis v'albein ragla ha'yimanis." It says that by Mitzvah the koyin should take from the blood of the Yasham and place it on the right ear and the right toe, right thumb, right toe. Ain't like bein yod. If he doesn't have a thumb, or ain't like bein ragla, or he doesn't have a toe, he's not Yamanis already. Ain't like Tartalay Lamas. Then there's no way, according to Tanakama, you cannot be Mekayim the Pasik, and there's no Tara for him. Rabbi Lazar, no, Neis Lama Kaima, place on the place where the toe and the ear was. Neis Albayim Al Eizan smaller, you put it on the left ear, so you see that Rabbi Lazar, Rabbi Shimon, don't say you're not required to follow exactly the words of the pasuk. The Tanakama says you do. So you see that the din of Shmuel was a machlekes of Tanoi. Zok the Hela Commissioner Kohen, this Kohen Nitlin, all those that got skilled through Bezdin were hung after the death. They were happy. Those are the words of Abelazar. That only one who cursed Hashem is the one that gets hung. And somebody who served idols. The man is hung when his face is facing the arm, the nation, in order to they should fear from doing this Haveda. The woman is towards the wood. Those are the words of Abelazar. Chum say no, only a man gets hung, not a woman. Abelazar said, "Alei Shimon ben Shatach tola nosh ma'ashkelon." Shimon ben Shatach hung women in Ashkelon. So how could you say that? How could the Chacham say they don't get hung at all? Abelazar Chacham say, but there's no right in Shimon ben Shatach. Shmeinim noshim tola. 80 women got hung in the same day. They ain't done him. And when it comes to people, Misa, we don't judge 2 Misas in one day. Zagt, you want to tell me, Rabbanim Yolet, that there will be a man, a sinner, who's a Mishpat Mavis, Humas, and he should die. But at least Israel hates. And they should hang him on a tree. Yachal Kol Amul Masin, Ayidei Bezdin Nitlin. I would have thought any person who dies through Bezdin gets hung. Tamalena comes the passing and says, because the curse of Hashem, he did, and Mamakal his misa is biskila, and he gets hung. Avkol shem biskila, so too any misa that's biskila gets hung. But any other misa is not going to get hung. Those are the words of Rabbi Lazar. Just like this Mekalo was Kaifa Be'ika and he gets hung. Avkol Shakapivka, even somebody who's able to have this other gets hung. But other Niskolim don't get hung. So other Niskolim, according to the Tanakama, Rabbi Lazar says every skila gets hung. According to Chachamim, only those that are Kaf Be'ika. In fact, what are they arguing about? And with the Gemara, Rabbanan Dash B'Chalatei Klalu Prati. Rabbi Lazar Dash Buyu Miyute. So now we're going to go through it. Rabbanan Dash Klalu Prati. Rabbanan Dash throughout the Torah to Klalu Prat. Like with this, that it says, Salisa, he should die and he should be hung as a cloud. That's a cloud. It's includes all misas that din is to be hung, and this that says kikilas zaprat. That's a detail. Shein tell us on Mavarchas Hashem only you have the kavla dadi. If the kavla prat were written next to each other, I mean an emechal mashma frat. So we only follow in the cloud what we were mafadid, which is somebody who curses Hashem, he gets hung. Hi, Mavarchas Hashem in. Only the one that curses Hashem, yes, midachin alay. But somebody who doesn't curse Hashem does not get killed. But now that the psukim have a hefsek between each other, ahani, so this helps to include even somebody who's able to have the zara. That's similar to, meaning that it's a kaif meika also, and also somebody who dies with skila get hung. Is a riboy that every misa gets hung. Then it says kikilas, that's a miyut, that only a Megadim gets hung. If the miyut were next to each other, then I wouldn't include only somebody who does Avodah Zarah, which is similar in everything. But now that they're distant from one another, the miyut of the pasuk ahani, Rabbi Yishan is going. It comes to include other skilas, even though they're not similar to cursing. But every skila is going to be chai misa, and which is not daima. We'll stop here right now.